So today we are diving right into chapter 8. That was a weird sentence. We're diving right into chapter 8. And 8.1 is about dividing fractions and whole numbers, okay? So your learning goal for today by the end of math is you should be able to divide a whole number by a fraction, okay? And then also to divide a fraction by a whole number, okay? Today, remember, our goal is we are trying to divide a fraction by a whole number or a whole number by a fraction, okay? So our first problem today is about Mia. Now, Mia, she's concerned about her health. So she's walking a 2-mile fitness trail, okay? So the total length of the trail is 2 miles long. Thomas, take off your hood, please. But she doesn't just keep walking. She likes to stop along the way, okay? Kind of like the hiking trails you guys made, right? Every 1/5 of a mile, she stops to do an exercise. Maybe she'll walk for 1/5 of the mile, and then she'll stop and do 10 push-ups. And then she'll get up and she'll walk another 1/5 of a mile, and then she'll stop and do 10 crunches. And then she'll walk another 1/5 of the mile, and maybe she'll do 10 jumping jacks. Okay, so every 1/5 mile that she travels, she's stopping to do an exercise. The question is asking, how many times does Mia stop to exercise? Okay, so to solve this problem in your math notebook, I want you to draw a number line from 0 to 2. And you're going to divide the number line into fifths. So you can see from 0 to 1 here, I've divided it into 5 equal sections because from here to here is 1/5, from here to here is 1/5, from here to here is 1/5, 1/5, and 1/5. That this tick mark represents how much? 1/5. What about this tick mark? Well, it's 2/5 because it's the distance is 1/5. What about here? 3/5. This one is 4/5. And of course this one is 5/5, otherwise known as? Yeah, okay. Over here we have 6/5, which otherwise known as 1 and what? 1/5. Over here would be 7/5, 8/5, 9/5, and 10/5. Can I simplify 10/5? Yeah, okay. Now, remember the question is asking us how many times does Mia stop to exercise? So let's take a look on our number line. She stops here to exercise, and here, 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 and here. So if you count the number of tick marks that you circled on your number line, how many times did Mia stop to exercise? Go ahead and count. Mia stopped to exercise 10 times because how many 1/5 sections, if this is a 1/5 section, how many of them are there in 2? 10. So Mia stopped to exercise because there are 10 1/5s in 2 holes. So Arushi, I'm hearing you say that we're trying to figure out how many 1/5 size sections can fit into 2 holes. So it's 2 divided by 1/5. Do you guys remember when we were talking about division of decimals? I would always ask you, is this a grouping problem? Are we trying to figure out how many groups there are? Or is it a sharing problem? Are we trying to figure out how many pieces or how many miles in this case are in each group? Go ahead and talk to your table group. Is this a grouping or sharing? Ooh, so Steve and I hear you saying that multiplication is the inverse operation, and I'm going to use this symbol. I'm making this up. I don't know if that's the right symbol, of division. Okay, what other inverse operations do we know? Adriana?
Subtraction and addition.
Ooh, subtraction is the inverse operation of addition. What does inverse operation even mean? Daniel? It means like the opposite, or it would undo each other, okay? So if I have a division equation here, if I go backwards and I use multiplication, it should undo it. So what that means is if I have 10 times 1/5, what should that equal? 2. Luckily for us, do we already know how to do multiplication with fractions?
Yes.
So what is 10 times 1/5? Siddharth? It's equal to 10 over 5, right? 10/5, or 2. So are we confident that we did that problem correct? Yes, excellent. Roger has 2 yards of string. Is that number a whole number or a fraction? Whole number. Now he's going to cut each piece of string into pieces that are 1/3 of a yard long. The question's asking you how many pieces of string does Roger have? Okay, so what I want you to do is please draw a picture and write, the picture's right here, you can just copy it, and then also write a number sentence to show how you're going to figure out how many pieces of string Roger has. In this picture, I can see that Roger has 2 yards of string altogether, and he's dividing each yard into 3 equal pieces, isn't he? So how many pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, does Roger have altogether? Siddharth? 6 pieces, that's right. Now, but let's get to the math of this, okay? What math equation are we actually solving here? What math equation are we actually solving? Matthew? 2 divided by 1/3. We're trying to figure out how many 1/3 yard size pieces will fit inside of 2 holes. Okay, you know what I'm going to ask you? Is this a sharing or a grouping division problem? This one's also a grouping problem because you have 2 holes and you're figuring out how many groups of 1/3 can fit inside the 2 holes. Okay? And what is the answer? 2 divided by 1/3 is 6 because there are 6 1/3 size pieces that can fit in the 2 holes. Now, of course, we have to figure out how can I use inverse operations to check. Go ahead and write an inverse operation math sentence right under where you did this work in your math notebook to see if you can check to see if you have the right answer. In order to use the inverse operation to check, I would do 6 times 1/3. Now, how can I do 6 times 1/3? What do I need to do?
You need to make it into
2 fractions. Okay, how can I turn 6 into a fraction?
9 thirds.
Well, first I would have to make it into a fraction like that, right? Then I multiply the numerator. 6 times 1 is?
Wait,
What's 6 times 1?
6.
Okay. And then I multiply the denominators. 1 times 3 is?
3.
And can I simplify 6/3? What does that equal?
2.
2. And do we like that answer?
Yes.
Because it matches with our dividend, right? We're trying to see if we can find a pattern. What's happening? It says when you divide a whole number, here we have the whole number, by a fraction, what happens to the quotient? How does the quotient compare to the dividend? Remember we said this number is the dividend. So how does the quotient compare to the dividend? Like, is it bigger? Is it smaller? Is it the same? How does the quotient compare to the dividend? Sarah?
Is bigger.
Yeah. So when we divide a whole number by a fraction, the quotient actually gets bigger. How does that compare to what we normally know about like whole number division? Go ahead and talk to your table group about that. We're noticing that when we divide a whole number by a fraction, the quotient actually gets bigger than the dividend. Okay. Have we accomplished today's math goal yet? It says Kayla shares half a package of clay equally amongst herself and 2 friends. So how many people altogether are sharing the clay? 3, because Kayla needs some for herself too, okay? What fraction of the whole package of clay will each friend get? Okay, so the question's asking, what fraction of the whole package of clay will each friend get? Is each friend sharing one whole package of clay? How much of the clay are they actually all sharing? Half of the package, okay? And they have to divide this half into thirds, right? Because there's 3 people sharing it. So go ahead and draw yourself a picture. Draw a model. I'm going to draw it over here too for you guys. That represents 1 whole package of clay. And then go ahead and divide that into half and draw it right under and show that that's half a package of clay because that's how much Kayla and her 2 friends are actually going to share. So if Kayla and 2 friends are sharing the clay, Jason, how many people are sharing this half package equally, this part? So since Kayla is sharing it with 3 friends, go ahead and then under that 1/2, draw the same size because they're sharing all of that, but divide it into 3 equal sections, just like that. Now the question's asking what fraction of the whole package will each friend get? So we're trying to figure out how big is this section compared to this. Okay. How many of these sections, if I were to complete this other side of the model, this is also half, and I'm dividing it into 3. Now do I have these little size sections that is equal to the whole? How many of those sections do I have? 6. So one of these must be how much of the whole? 1/6 of the whole. Okay. So what fraction of the whole package will each friend get? Zara? Will each friend get 2/6 or 1/6? Because remember, they're sharing this one half of the package, and they divided it into 3 chunks. And Kayla gets 1, you can be 1, you can have 1, and I can have 1. So how much does each friend get? 1/6 of the whole package. Half of the package, and we're dividing it equally amongst how many people? 3. So we're doing 1/2 divided by 3 equals 1/6.